Let's say you're in the US as a tourist or a student or some sort of similar non-immigrant visa, and you have a fiance that's a US citizen, and you're considering getting married, but you don't know whether you should get married in the US or abroad, whether you should adjust status in the US or consular process outside of the US. The purpose of this video is to help you create an immigration plan, and a lot of what we're going to discuss are intent issues pertaining to adjustment of status and consular processing. If you're new to my channel, I'm Puyan Darian, an immigration lawyer, and I discuss complicated immigration topics and try to make them understandable on a weekly basis. If you've watched my other videos, then you probably already know that when you enter the United States as a tourist or a student or any other non-immigrant status, you must have non-immigrant intent. And what that means is you must have the intent to leave the US at the moment that you're entering the US. Now, after you enter the US, you can change your mind if your circumstances change. That's permitted, but it is not permitted to enter the US with the secret intent to permanently reside here when you're entering on some sort of non-immigrant status. There are different rules for dual intent visas, such as H-1Bs, but we're not discussing those in this video. What we're going to be discussing is non-immigrant entry and whether you should adjust your status here or abroad. Let's take an example. Let's say you've entered the US on a student visa and you've studied here for several years. During the course of these years, you've departed the US and re-entered multiple times on the same student visa. Now you're considering getting married to your fiance, who happens to be a US citizen, and your plan is to apply for permanent residence after you get married. What happens if you travel home and then you re-enter on your student visa? Now, if you re-enter with the intent to permanently reside in the US, that can very well be construed as fraudulent intent when you eventually apply for your green card if you're adjusting status in the US. But if you enter the US and after you enter, you change your mind or circumstances change. Let's say you propose or you're proposed to, or your life plan changes with your partner. And now you decide, okay, I don't want to be separated from you anymore. I want to apply for permanent residency. That is permissible. If you enter with the intent to permanently reside here, that's fraudulent. So in that situation, it might not be advisable to adjust status in the United States. You might be better off under that circumstance just filing a family petition and eventually consular processing back into the United States. And consular processing is a topic I've discussed in multiple videos. If you're not familiar with the term, check out those videos. But to very briefly summarize, you would not be adjusting your status or changing your status while in the US. You would eventually going for an interview in the consulate in your home country and then re-entering as a permanent resident. That would be the cleanest way to get around these intent issues. But it all depends on what your life plan is. So if this is something you're struggling with right now, it's really important to speak with an immigration lawyer to help create a plan for the future. And honestly, I typically don't even advise getting married until you speak with an immigration lawyer, because re-entering the US on a non-immigrant visa when you have a US citizen spouse can complicate things at the airport. If the customs officer asks you, what are your plans? Where are you going to live? And you say, oh, I'm going to live with my US citizen spouse. That could call into question whether your intent is to be in the US temporarily on your non-immigrant visa, or whether you actually have the intent to permanently reside in the US. So before you take any steps towards your future together with your partner, it's important to speak with an immigration lawyer. If there's anything you take away from this video, it's that you should have a plan before you take any steps. And the intent issues may determine whether your best course of action is adjusting status while in the United States or consular processing abroad. If you're grappling with any of these issues, or you're struggling and you're not sure what to do, you can always schedule a consultation with me and we'll go through all the facts in your case step by step, and we will create a plan during the consultation. If you have any specific questions about this topic or related topics, please put them in the comments below. I'll read them, I'll respond to them, and I'll probably use them for future video ideas. Again, guys, I'm Puyan Darian, an immigration lawyer, and I'll see you guys next week.